Hi, everyone, and welcome to this session of Paradoxical Approach to Collaborative Innovation. My name is Stella Bida, and my whole purpose for me today is not to teach you anything, it's not to force you into anything, but it's rather to convey you to a different perspective when it comes to solving the issues related to collaborative innovation. So I'm joining you from Brussels in Belgium, and I'm actually curious to know where you think the paradox will come from during this session. So before we get to the paradox itself, I first want us to have a look at what is collaborative innovation so that we can have a common understanding about it. So I've put into this formula what collaborative innovation is because I love formulas. And you can see collaborative innovation as a formula with two main parameters. First of all, people. People, knowing that people come with different ways of thinking, different personalities, different preferences, different beliefs. And on the other side, inputs. Inputs representing the concrete assets that people bring to the table to create the more, the better, the new, the more efficient solutions. And that is the knowledge, the experience, the skills that people bring to the table. All right. So that's collaborative innovation. It all starts with the people. Now, I want to stop for a second and I want to invite you to think about one crisis or a problem that you lately had in your project or in your organization or in your company. And I want you to ask yourself, was the problem due to a people problem or was it something else? The reason I'm asking you the question is because oftentimes I would say 8 out of 10, when I ask this question, people often say that the issues and the problems that they have in their projects is often due to people. It's often a people issue, whether it's politics, collaboration, communication, it's often a people issue, right? And there are also many research actually which point out to this fact. Now, when these people issues occur, we want to fix them. That's normal, all right? And the way we fix them, let me share my screen, is that we're going to approach the solution through what I call the common approach. The common approach is trying to fix the interaction, what is happening at the interaction level between the people, right? We're going to look at the way they communicate, the way they collaborate, the way they solve problems. We're really going to look at solutions at the interaction level. Now, what I want you to consider is the fact that there's another way to approach the solution, which is the paradoxical approach. And the paradoxical approach, right? This is where the paradox comes from. Even though the problem occurs at the interaction level, the way people collaborate, communicate, solve issues, solve conflicts, we're not going to look at that. We're not going to look at the interaction level. We are going to dissociate the interaction level, and we're rather going to focus on what is happening at the personal level, the individual level, right? And that's how we're going to solve the issues, the problem, the people issues. We're going to use some tools such as neurosciences, behavioral sciences, and emotional intelligence to actually solve what is happening in these people issues. So you may ask yourself, why do we even need to take time to have a look at this paradoxical approach? Where, first of all, I want you to think about the number of times and the different efforts that you've already put into trying to solve these people issues at the interaction level. Does it work? Well, oftentimes what happens is that the problems and the issues keep on happening. They keep on reoccurring. And that's what I call the patterns of failure that keep on happening over and over again, despite any efforts that you put into solving the people issues at the interaction level. And the last reason to consider, and I'm working with these companies, is the fact that some of the most innovative and powerful companies across the world have understood the power of this paradoxical approach and they're using it and they're having phenomenal results. And I've seen that firsthand. So that's why I'm also sharing about this paradoxical approach with you. All right. So when I say that we're going to solve the issues happening at the personal level, what it really means is that we're going to set the foundational competencies so that people are ready for collaborative innovation. Most of the times we think people are ready, but then there are these people issues. And what we're going to do is to put into each person these foundational competencies that are going to make the collaborative innovation formula work. And we're going to have a look at competencies such as self-awareness, self-assessment, and personal power. Now, what are these competencies about, right? You may ask. I'm going to give you a flavor of the power of these competencies through a case study, all right? We're going to go through that case study so that you can have a flavor of the power of these competencies and of this paradoxical approach, all right? So I'm going to hide myself for a second so that you can have a view on the case study. So the case study itself is about an agri-tech multinational company which has a huge crisis. And the crisis is manifested through a huge market delivery delays, right? There are huge market delivery delays of their solutions in Ghana and Nigeria. All right. And this is actually a case study that I have seen firsthand, and I've changed it a little bit for the purpose of this session so that you get the essence of the paradoxical approach power. All right. So the executive team has noticed that one of the main reasons why there is this crisis is because of the slower decision making process within the executive team, right? A lack of collaboration, lots of misunderstanding, communication breakdowns, all of these has contributed to the crisis. And the way they're trying to solve this is through the common approach. They're trying to have the whole executive team go through another yet training regarding communication collaboration, even though in the past multiple of these trainings have failed, and they can see that there are still the same patterns of failure that keep happening over and over again. Now, this is what happened when we adopted the paradoxical approach with the executive team. We had a look at what is happening at the personal level for each of the members. And here are some of the insights. For the CEO, for example, we noticed that even though he was a very strong, charismatic person, he noticed for himself through the paradoxical approach that he was being very impulsive. And he wanted to work on that and to work on his core foundational competency of self awareness so that he could gain the ability to use his own resources so that before he escalates to impulsivity, he could self correct and self regulate his behavior to make collaborative innovation a success, right? The CEO, even though he was very successful and very ambitious as an individual, he realized that he was setting some unrealistic goals, and he needed to work on self-assessment, which was his ability to understand his strengths and limitations so much that he would use this information to make the right decisions. And finally, the CTO, even though he was a great engineer, very technically savvy, he noticed that he was lacking the confidence in his own judgment and therefore needed to work on this personal power, which is the ability to be so self confident that he would easily convey his truth and his knowings to other people, right? So, this is a case study that actually shows you how much we went from, hey, the executive team is having a communication and collaboration breakdown to, wait a minute, let's look at what is happening at the individual level, right? And let's see the core competencies that the executive team can build to have a ripple effect on the collaboration, on the communication, on the decision making process. And this was such a powerful way to actually look at the challenge. So here is what I am conveying to you and I'm inviting you to do. The next time you have a crisis of communication or collaboration within your team and your innovation cycle, instead of trying to solve what is happening at the interaction level, have a look at what is happening at the individual level. Build up the competencies of the people so that they have the core foundations to make collaborative innovation a success. And that's how you build a culture of innovation, right? So I am really curious to hear your thoughts regarding what I've talked about. And I'm looking forward to hearing about your experience when you approach collaborative innovation through the paradoxical approach. I'm Stella Bida. Thank you.